The NFL draft is in just a few days, and in every draft there are unique talking points for the first round, and this year is no different. Let's talk about them. Alright, we got no surprises here. I do this every year. 5 talking points for the first round of the 2026 NFL draft, starting with, when does the second quarterback come off the board? Okay, at this point, Fernando Mendoza has been mocked to the Raiders ever since the season ended. We know that more than likely he's going to be the first overall pick. But right now I want to talk about Alabama's Ty Simpson, the general consensus to be the second best quarterback in this year's draft. The problem is, there's not a general consensus of where he could go. He could go from the mid-first round to the mid-second round. There's not consistency with where he's going to go. Now with Ty, alright? He's got everything you want in a quarterback. Great athleticism, really good arm, was a winner at Alabama. At times, he was the best quarterback in all of college football. You could make that argument in 2025. The negatives, he's a little bit of a project. You cannot expect him to start right away and expect to play solid football. You need to give him some time. There's also the one-year starter effect that we have. Because one-year starters, the track record is not that great. Sam and I had talked about that when we broke down the top 5 QB prospects. But with Simpson, he has so much potential to be an above-average starter in the NFL at the very worst. If he pans out, you're getting a quarterback that is going to start for the next decade. Alright? Now, who could possibly take him? Well, when Sam and I did the mock draft, we had him going to 21 to the Steelers. Realistically, could see that. I think that's the first starting point for Ty Simpson, because for the Steelers, they need a long-term answer at quarterback, whether or not Aaron Rodgers is back in 2026. Who else? Well, the Cardinals, the Jets, or even the Rams are looking for long-term at quarterback as well. For the Rams, Matthew Stafford, how much longer is he going to play? The Jets, they got Geno Smith, but that's probably a bridge quarterback. The Cardinals, they just let go of Kyler Murray. Alright? All those teams could definitely use a quarterback for the future. Now, could one of those teams trade up into the first round and trade back into the first round? Absolutely. But the Jets and the Cardinals had the first 2 picks in the second round. So if Ty Simpson does not go in the first round, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets took him with the 33rd overall pick. Really, with Ty, we don't know. We just don't. And we're just going to have to wait until round 1 to find out when he's going to be taken. Unfortunately, every draft has their weak points, and for the 2026 class, that would be defensive tackle. There is a realistic chance that none of these guys get taken in the first round. And yes, in my mock draft, I had Cade McDonald of Ohio State and Peter Woods of Clemson going in the first round. And Caleb Banks from Florida has also had first round talk. But realistically, I can see those guys going in the first round or the second round. And yeah, it's just not a good defensive tackle class. So if you need a defensive tackle, yeah, it's not the best time to need that. Alright, the value for them is going to be probably in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. That's probably when you're going to see a lot of these guys get taken. But again, I mean, that's just the way the draft is. Some positions have their strong years and some positions have their weak years. That's just the way it goes. Now, whereas defensive tackle is a weak point, the strong points are wide receiver and offensive line. On the offensive line, I had 6 tackles and 1 guard going in the first round. So 7 offensive linemen on day 1 of the draft. And it wouldn't shock me if all 7 of those guys get taken in the first round. And even after the first round, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody took somebody in the 3rd round and they end up being a week 1 starter. That's how strong this offensive line is. So you need offensive linemen. There is no excuse for not getting a quality guy that could start at some point in 2026. And then when you talk about wide receivers, 3 of them could potentially be top 10 picks. You have Carnell Tate of Ohio State, the top receiver, who is a top 5 prospect by a lot of people's boards. You have Mekhi Lemon of USC, and then you have Jordan Tyson of Arizona State. All three of those guys have been mocked in the top 10 at some point during the offseason. And then the other two that I had in the first round were Amari Cooper Jr. of Indiana and then Denzel of Boston from Washington. And once again, you have other receivers that could potentially be taken after the first round that could make an immediate impact. So wide receiver and offensive line are the strength of this draft, while defensive tackle, not so much. Okay, I may be reaching with this one, but this is for one team in particular, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, with the Cowboys, they have the 12th overall pick and the 20th overall pick. But by the time they get to the 12th pick, their needs more than likely are going to be gone because you have corner, you have edge, and you have linebacker. Well, the top two linebackers are potential top 5 picks. The 3 top edge guys are top 10 prospects. And then Nazir Delane from LSU is another guy that could realistically be taken in the top 10 as well. So all of their needs could be gone by number 12. And then you factor in the division rivalry part of this where the Giants have 5 and 10 and the Commanders have 7. It would not shock me if the Cowboys tried to jump the Giants before their first pick and take somebody like, say, a Sonny Styles that would fit their team, but also keep him away from a division rival. So they would get an immediate impact starter and hurt their division rival by trading up. Now, who would be the trade up? Well, the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals could be a team that's looking to get out so that they could acquire some extra picks. And really for Dallas, if they decide to package in 12 and 20, I think the Cardinals would jump on that in a heartbeat, get 2 top 20 picks. And yes, it's great to have a top 3 pick, but also for the Cardinals, they just need good players right away. So really, I think that would work out for both sides if the Cowboys decide to just trade up and get somebody that they could keep away from their division rivals and that would help fill a need on their team that would not have gotten there to 12. You know, when you look into the 6 teams that have 2 first-round picks, it's kind of insane who they are. You have both New York teams. The Giants have 2 picks in the top 10, while the Jets have 2 picks in the top 20. You have the Chiefs that got an extra first-round pick after trading away Trent McDuffie to the Rams, even though the Rams still have a top 20 pick because of the trade they made last year with the Falcons. That's still crazy. Anyway, throw in the Browns having an extra first-round pick because of the Jaguars trade to get Travis Hunter in last year's draft. The Cowboys have an extra first-round pick. Both of them are top 20. And then you have the Dolphins that trade away Jalen Waddle to the Broncos, and their first-round pick, their first-round pick, is number 11. So out of all those 6 teams, all of them have picks in the top 20. 3 of them have both of their first-round picks in the top 20, and 1 of them has their picks in the top 10. That's just insane when you think about it. Now for these teams, what does it all mean? Well, nothing right now. They haven't used those picks yet. But they have to use them wisely. I remember the last time the Giants had 2 top 10 picks. That was in 2022. They take Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. Thibodeau is right now a one-year wonder. He had double-digit sacks 1 year and hasn't been great the remainder years. And we all know the situation with Evan Neal. It's just been a major disappointment. Draft picks don't mean a whole lot if you can't use them properly. And that's the thing. These teams have to use their draft picks properly. For the Chiefs, this could be an instant way to get back to the top of the AFC. Alright? Did not have a good season last year. They get a top 10 pick and they get an extra first-round pick because of a trade. They have a chance to get back to the top if they use these picks correctly. For the Jets, while more than likely they're not going to take a quarterback in the first round because there's just not one worth taking with the 2 first-round picks they have, they could get good players that could help them win some more games next year and then think about what they're going to do at the quarterback position next year. Alright? There is a lot that these teams have to take into consideration with their 2 first-round picks. They have to use them properly. Now, will they go for need or just take the best player available? Will they try to trade down, accrue more draft picks, or use both of their picks to trade up, like I mentioned with the Cowboys? They could do that with Arizona, just get the number 3 pick, try to jump the Giants and the Commanders to get a player that they want. There's a lot these teams can do, but once again, We're not going to know what they're going to do until the draft begins. And that's just what makes the NFL draft so much fun every year. The chaos that ensues when you see an unlikely trade or you see something absolutely insane and you wonder if it will work out. Alright guys, those were my thoughts on the 5 things to look out for in the first round. Let me know what you think. Do you think anything else could happen day 1 in the NFL draft? And as always, I'll see you guys next time.